Another shrunken Megatron! You know they've done this to you twice already. How many more times are they going to shrink you down to make you nothing more than a palm-sized toy? Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. We're continuing our look into Legacy United by looking at another core class figure. We have the Energon version of Megatron. Now, Energon was the second series done alongside Armada. So this version of Megatron is actually another form of this Megatron. This here is the Armada Megatron that was released in the last wave of Legacy toys. This version of Megatron, Armada Megatron, would be upgraded to Armada Galvatron. And that toy is coming in this lineup too, so we will get that. Guess then I better keep him in storage in his robot mode. We're going to need him again. But apparently near the end of Armada, this version of Galvatron ended up encountering Unicron and found himself captured by him and pretty much detained inside of his body for about a decade. While inside there, for whatever reason, he reverted back to Megatron and found a way to subtly build himself a new body and managed to escape, only to once again find himself having to encounter the Planet Eater and sacrificed himself to destroy Unicron. Only for about another decade later, come back in a new, more powerful body and start the whole process over again. That's just basically a summary of it. I've not seen Armada, but I've read a little bit about it. At any rate, let's get big Megatron out of the way here so we can look at the little Megatron. I mean, I'm sure like many of the fans, they would have probably appreciated a bigger version, especially since we got a big one of his previous form, but since we're getting Galvatron this year, I guess that's kind of okay. Plus, of course, the big Titan figure is going to be Tidal Wave from that series. And he will include some pieces that can be put on that Megatron. So that'll be an interesting toy to see. Hopefully I'll be able to find it and acquire it. But at any rate, this is how Megatron came out, and I do say that it is an interesting look. I will give it that. Especially since it does take a few cues from the Generation 1 look, because the head, if you get rid of the crown, it almost bears a resemblance to G1 Megatron's head. Cartoon form, of course, not the toy. At any rate here, let's take a look at some of his accessories. We're going to start with these green guns. They're just nice little subtle green guns. They're in sort of a bright color. Almost harkens to the 1990s G.I. Joe toys where they went excessively neon for a military force. Now, on a science fiction thing like the Transformers, I can see it, but not on a military toy like G.I. Joe. At any rate, the green guns do have multiple features, because they can be plugged in like I had here and point upwards. Or you can plug them in like so And Megatron has forward-facing shooting cannons. Or, if you really want to go old school, you can put them in his hands. You just drop the one, so we'll just leave it out. But you get the idea. Nice to have multiple choices with it. That's always good. And then of course we also have this gun blade. I call it a gun blade because I mean there's obviously a cannon on this one side, and then right over here is something that looks kind of like a sword. All in all, it is a rather interesting look. Although from the side here, if you were to take the blade, if you were able to remove the blade, this almost looks like a little mini tank. Possibly a subtle reminder to Megatron's previous form, where that toy did become a tank. Kind of cute. At any rate then, let's take a look at Megatron's articulation. And he has about what you'd expect from a core class figure. The head can turn from side to side. It unfortunately is not on a ball joint, so it will not look up and down. You can move his arm out to the side about so far. And you can't rotate it all the way at the shoulder. It kind of locks up about here. That's partially due to the fact that he's got a post protruding out in his armpit area. That's more used for transforming him. You can bend his arm at the elbow 90 degrees. And since his elbows are done up as a ball joint, so he does have G.I. Joe battle grip here. He does not twist at his hips due to the way that his back piece is attached. You can spread his legs apart into a full splits. He does have a bit of a thigh cut going. You can raise his leg at the hips 90 degrees, and you can bend him at the knee a little bit more than 90 degrees. So all in all, the articulation on him is a bit restricted. Alright, to transform Megatron, we start here by coming to his head, and we rotate it around so it faces the back side. And then you will bring up this nose piece from the back and attach it. Now I'm going to question the need to turn his head around, because I mean, here's the instructions. You can see right here. Step 1, rotate head around. Step 2, put up the nose cone, but if you look there on the drawing, okay, it does look like it has it turned around. My mistake. I think I need new glasses. If I'm making mistakes like that, I better get new glasses. Alright, we turn him around. I'm back, folks. And then we're going to rotate his back piece with the wings all the way around. If you need to, you can fold the wings upwards so that it makes it easier. It's not really necessary. No. Now, we turn him back around. You're going to take his arms. You're going to rotate the arms at the elbow so that his forearms point backwards. This is a bit of a chore because the joint is very tight. But get him turned around like so. Now come down here to his feet. You're going to fold the back of his feet into the back of his legs. Then you will turn his legs at the thigh so the knees face each other. Then have him do a splits. And then you're going to fold the legs up at the knee. As you'll see here on the one side of his legs, he does have a post protruding out. And that should connect to this hole here in his shoulder. Which Just adjust them as necessary to get them to line up. And get them plugged in like that. Then we'll come back here, take his arms and move them down at the elbow so they touch his legs. And then you fold down the wings like so. Then, of course, you can attach his accessories. We'll start with the gun blade. It's got a couple of holes, a couple of rectangular-like holes near the back, and they will line up with these protrusions here on his body. So that you make sure that the gun points forward, and then you reattach the green cannons into his shoulders, preferably pointing straight out, so that way it looks like he can shoot with them. And then there you have it. Megatron is in his alternate form. I'm not sure if this is meant to be a jet or a space shuttle. Space shuttle may be a little too broad. Go with a space vehicle instead. Oh, whatever. It does hold well in one hand, and it does swoosh fairly good. So all in all, it's not a bad toy per se. But then now we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of the Energon Megatron? In ways, I do like the toy. It's a nice way to bring in another version of Megatron. But like a few of the other fans, I'm also getting a little tired of the same name turning up on a lot of the core class figures. It would be nice to see more of the others get done in this size, especially since these guys are the least expensive and probably the better ones to get in the long run for some. But all in all, I do enjoy how this one came out. I do like the options that you have with the weapons, so it does give him a lot of play value. And his alternate mode turns out pretty decently. It's just unfortunately, since he's supposed to be an upgraded form of the Armada version, when you stand him up with last year's Armada Megatron, he just doesn't stand up to it. That's one disappointment about it, but I guess I'd rather be able to get a small version and have one than to not be allowed to have one at all. At any rate, that's my look at the Legacy United version of Energon Megatron. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please do remember that if you love the content we feature on this channel, I would appreciate a like, a share, and a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.